Global Business Insights podcast from PS Learning, featuring your hosts Dr. Charlotte de Brabant and Max Kent, bringing you the leading global experts and thought leaders from all industry sectors to give you cutting-edge key insights into the future of business, technology and thought leadership.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's podcast series on AI and ChatGPT. And I'm so delighted to be having another thought leader on board in today's session with myself and Max, a dear friend, Dario, who also sits on the CIPS Germany advisory board. And he's going to share his knowledge a little bit to our procurement community and the community of supply chain professionals, how really ChatGPT is going to change the future of I would say, all the innovations all around us.
Thanks, Charlotte. Hi, everyone. Max here. Just to add to this, really excited about this podcast. Dario Kulic, 22 different roles in strategic procurement and sourcing consultancies across some fantastic companies that I'm sure you've all heard of. I mean, check out his profile on LinkedIn to get a sense of just the sort of breadth of knowledge that Dario has. And really just wanted to get into this podcast, into looking at Dario's thoughts on the future of AI and chatbots and ChatGPT, but really in more of a commercial sense and how that differs from being used in more of a personal setting. And there's lots of people using that. And then into purchase to pay and Dario's thoughts on how AI will affect the whole sourcing industry, the software side of procurement and sourcing. So really looking forward to this one. So without further ado, Dario, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Max and Charlotte. Hi, everybody. And thank you for inviting me to this podcast and giving me the opportunity to talk about a bit on chatbots and not only on the AI chatbots, but also in combination of the ChatGPT. So yeah, introducing myself, Max, as you have done already quite a good bit. I have around 17 years of experience in procurement and purchase to pay. So across the whole board, I've worked for many different companies and many different industries. I think just the military and aerospace, and for ships, I have not ship companies. I have not worked yet. So I have really a broad range of visibility of many companies' processes and system usages, and therefore I'm working in the animal health business environment since a couple of years, but I'm not limited to this. So as I said, I worked already for many industries, and I started actually my career in automotive with companies like Ford and Toyota. So there's a bit of an introduction background, but maybe just one thing which all companies have in common. In the end, when it is about processes, it doesn't matter if procurement or P2P. It's always about pains of users and people actually who are using these systems and processes. And here, companies are actually all similar thing.
Well, Dario, thank you so much for your time, especially in joining us today. And when I learned about your background and about your passion about not only innovative technologies, but this newly exposed generative AI, OpenAI, ChatGPT, I got very intrigued. And to be honest, my life has changed since I found out about this incredible piece of new technology. And I think I am speaking on behalf of myself and Max actually at this point, because
Absolutely.
Each time we're just more and more intrigued. Maybe, Dario, you could just share a little bit more about where this passion came from and how it has affected your job at this point.
Thanks. That's a great question, actually. So how did my passion started on this, or let's say my journey or mission? I think it started actually on the other side. So when I was myself a heavy user of systems or processes around procurement and P2P, and here I learned already quickly that I don't like it to get just a no. Yeah. So on the question, so why do we have it actually designed like this? So shouldn't it be easier the other way? Wouldn't it be actually better for everybody? Yeah, because less time used and so on. So these kind of questions I learned for myself very quickly. Maybe I have this kind of curiosity, natural curiosity, just to drill to the things, to the root causes. And this is where it actually then started with logical thinking in business processes where really logic is the key. Yeah? So you drill to root causes up to the end where you really found the reason for something, yeah? And then you put the countermeasures in, and then you see and enjoy actually how things are getting better. Yeah? And this is I think where my passion really comes from. And here then in combination, when I've moved away from this being just a user in a company, but then understanding all users' pains and problems and so on, and this actually just magnified it, or even, yeah, I would say magnified it, and burned the passion fire even more. Yeah, so to thrive and to help actually large organizations, not just a small group of a few people, but really when everybody is affected in a company of it. Yeah? Just imagine you have 10,000 employees and maybe 2, 3, 4,000 are really business users. So this is a heavy number of people. Yeah? So if all of them are frustrated, this is I mean, the repercussions are big. Yeah? So you know how it is with frustrations even. Yeah? So you're coming off from work, you have to do this over and over again, and repetitive tasks, and so these kind of things were for me key, driving this passion.
Fantastic. It's been really interesting reading through your profile again and now hearing you speak and really bring that to life. And there's this theme that I've noticed going through sort of reading up about you, about empowering other people, empowering your direct reports and your colleagues to be able to do more. And one of the vision statement you sent me around eliminating all non-value added activities for employees so they can concentrate on meaningful work, and really empowering them with new AI technologies, especially in P2P and purchasing, is incredibly interesting, especially for all of our listeners that are really focusing on that future of technology and how that does empower people. So really keen to hear about your story there and how you've done that and your sort of thoughts and experience in that.
Yeah, great question. So yeah, empowering people for me is anyway a key thing for leadership. So I call this leadership empathy. Maybe there are also different definitions for it, but this is for me what it sums up. So really leading with empathy and gaining trust of the people, not just on a quick way, but really gaining their trust so that they can rely on you. Yeah? So that the things you're saying, the directions you're giving, they're really heard of, right? And people are following because they're trusting. They're not following because they are controlled, right? So there's a really big difference, and this difference makes huge differences when it comes to results, and that's what I've seen with my team now. So I've really I really built up a team of 17 individual experts in the whole P2P area. So from an end-to-end perspective, if it is vendor master data, controls, purchase requisitions, POs, invoices, approvals, anything. So I really took here the time and trained them extensively 1 month long in the beginning, but I did it personally. I also hired them all personally, interviewed them also personally. So to see also that they have the same traits and the same soft skills. One thing I did never actually wanted from them is having deep system understandings and process understandings. Actually, I even wanted them to have nothing of it, because you have a different base. Yeah. So as long as you have employees, for example, you hired because you trust them, you see something in them, and they have special soft skills, like they don't just accept a no. So they're following up until the end, and they're giving great support to people by listening to them and taking the time. And they are becoming trusted in an organization. So these traits I actually were always looking after, and and by then empowering this team, by trusting them that they're able to do the job, without having to control their results and works. So, for example, looking every day into their team meetings, looking every day into their whatever figures. So that's something what I've never did, and I think also that's micromanagement thing is not good. So, and I've seen this empowering thing. You trust your people, you train them, you trust them now. They can run and do it on their own, but you know that they will come to you if they need you. So if they need guidance, and this is I can just say and recommend to everybody who's listening now to this podcast, if you have not tried it that way, just do it. Yeah, you can't lose anything. Yeah, so just try it, and you will see it will bring better results. And
Dario, you're reading my mind. Seriously, this is exactly where I've been preaching leaders for the past years. Whenever I give a talk on how to inspire, motivate, retain our next generation of talents, and I can truly just emphasize, if you desire to motivate, to inspire, retain the next generation, Z or Alpha. I mean, right now, the way to do it is, as you say, tell them the end goal and let them figure it out, and you'll be really surprised what they come up with. I couldn't agree more.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you,
on
Charlotte.
that point,
thank you,
Darian, on that point of inspiration and of course guiding and influencing your community, I was just going to ask, if we go into just reverting back to generative AI and ChatGPT, what are your tips? How could someone who hasn't had that experience yet get started to grasp all that knowledge? And maybe you can share some of your experience there. But also, I know that we have still a lot of people that are very critical about these innovative technologies and change, and maybe you could just elaborate how they go about change. I know it's many questions at once, but but very much first, how to inspire the next generation, and then also how they cope with change.
Yeah. No, that's I mean, many questions, but maybe the answer is answering all of them. Maybe. So let's see. But let me start. And here I need to differentiate first directly in the beginning. So ChatGPT for the moment is it's an open AI and is publicly available and to be used. So you just have to register yourself. It's for free cost. So I just did it also yesterday. Tried it a few times. I played a little bit around with it. But the thing is here, it will stay public and let's say open for the moment, because I don't see that corporations are going to incorporate this into their own processes and systems. So connecting it to their own systems and so on, because there, I can see it on my own company. There is they see a risk of leakage of own data and confidential data. So I'll give you just a practical example. And this is maybe something what I always like to do this. So I'm not this totally theory guy. Yeah, I like to give practical examples so that people can really understand what I mean. And what I mean is following. Just imagine you're an employee of company Epsilon, and you have now not connected ChatGPT to your own systems, but your employee could use it a part of the system, so offline. Now, that's so far okay, yeah. But now he's now taking data from its company. For example, the guy is a sales manager. He doesn't know how to create a sourcing category or a sourcing strategy, let's say, in sales. Okay, but he has the data. So what he's doing now, because he might be clever, he's tech savvy, maybe he saw some YouTube videos on ChatGPT, how it can work. So he goes into ChatGPT and now fills in a formulated question, which can be also 3 sentences long. So it just needs to have a logical format, and is giving this data in. And now ChatGPT is actually using company data and then creating an example of a sort of a sales strategy. No, the guy is reading this and says, wow, fantastic, I just have to copy and paste. No, until this thing starts. For a company actually have been already leaked data, which can be connected to the company's name. And this is also what I have seen in ChatGPT. So I can just go in and say, or ask, hi, can you tell me what is the salary of this and that position in especially this and that company? Okay, so now ChatGPT can find this information and link them all together. But if it can do this, it will certainly also find the information of the sales, the sourcing of the sales strategy, which is linked to the company, right? So now multiply this with hundreds of employees. So let's imagine hundreds of employees are doing this on sales strategies, on sourcing strategies, on quality information, whatever. So there's a high leakage of data which is going out into the public, can then also be used by OpenAI and is directly linked to your company. And this is actually the risk they see at the moment. And therefore, I don't see actually very soon that there will be a welcome by the corporations to, hey, ChatGPT, you are going to help our employees. I don't think that's going to happen. But what at the moment is happening is that this AI technology is helping already corporations in different aspects. So one aspect is an AI conversational chatbot, which in its purest form, let's say it's just a chatbot, can already help any kind of an employee in a company to get an answer to frequently asked questions. So where do I find this policy? Where do I get this? How is this working? How do I do a ticket? And so on, right? So on the static level, you can just implement 1 million questions and 1 million predefined answers. So, and everybody in a company can just access it and use it as as a master book, right, for any kind of question. So now this is the standard, the static thing. The AI conversational part now comes where the chatbot is used also to make the conversation more human-like, okay, and also to learn from each conversation. So meaning also that the history of the last conversation is used also into the next conversation. So the chatbot learns for the next time he talks to you already. Okay. I did not find last time this solution, but in the meantime, I found it actually, and now I can offer him an alternative solution. So just in a simple way. And this can have multiple. The more you train actually this chatbot in the beginning, this is important. It's not just you're switching it on. So you're just not switching on a chatbot, an AI chatbot, and it's working. No, that's not working. So you must really intensively, at least in the first year, have somebody who's maintaining it, training it, and also correcting errors. And here the AI thing is not perfect. It of course will do some errors here and there, but the more errors you detect, the more errors you train the AI chatbot to understand it did here a mistake, the better it will become in the future. And it will remain, it will need to have less and less maintenance over and over and over again. So now here, the point is you can use this chatbot then in a corporation to eliminate non-value added activities. And what is a non-value added activity for me? So everything what an employee has to do additionally, so everything an employee has additionally to do or additionally spend time on his normal time to run his normal job he is hired for. Okay. In other words, I am hired for as a scientist, for example. I have to sit in a stand in a laboratory. I have to do some vaccines. I have to do some testings, whatever it is. Write also reports. And Charlotte, you will know it better, yeah. So you are a deeper scientist than me. So, but here the point is, this person should not spend 20% of its normal time with going into a system, creating a purchase requisition, then correcting a purchase requisition, ending up with help desks, talking with procurement in order to understand which material group code to be used. So you see, actually all these kind of things, they are just wasting time. They're eating up time. And with eating up time, pressure is starting to cook. People get more and more frustrated, which then certainly leads to situations I've seen, like 500 scientists saying all at once, I'm not doing anything with P2P anymore. It's really time eater, and we are here to do science. And now the point comes, we don't need this. This is middle. I call this middle age. So the companies don't need to do this because implementing just a chatbot who cannot also prompt actions. Now it comes. So this chatbot can then be used to, I am a user, I want to understand what is the invoice status of my supplier. So I give the chatbot just a supplier reference number or PO number, whatever it is, what can be connected to it. And the chatbot is doing following. my dear user, or let's say, hey Dario, your supplier invoice is not in an approved status because it has this invoice exception. Please contact that person or make a request in order to get this exception done. So look, already in just less than a minute, the chatbot already explained a long manual workflow, which costs you up to, I don't know, hours of until finish, because they are very manual. You have to contact the supplier, you have to contact this department, you have to talk to that person, and so on. And that's just one example. And I can tell you there are thousands. The bigger the company, the more financial processes also are working in the background, or sales processes, or supply chain processes. Imagine there's forecasting systems. AI can improve, of course, but AI will not improve by just putting it somewhere in. So there must be also the right people who train the AI also in the right way, so that is bringing also the fruitful results. And linking this also now to ethical things, and I hear already the last 12 months where I promoted internally in my company actually a business case for an action bot. So the combination, what I just explained, a chatbot with AI function and can prompt it also with actions. So either by getting status information or by letting him know, for example, please create this purchase requisition for me. So now what is the bot then doing? He is connecting for you into the Ariba system, for example, logging in for you. So here already this time is done. Then it's going into Ariba, so going to the right category, saying ad hoc, filling all the information, sending it out for approval, following up the approvals. So here are hours already saved just for one person. And now you have this process thousands of times per year. So when I calculated my business case, and I will not tell you which exact processes these were all, but I can tell you from just six processes in P2P with around 2,000 users. I've calculated 5,500 days of non-value added activities per year. I mean, you have to just imagine, we are talking about years of work in just 1 year, right? So that's crazy. And
Wow.
here AI will definitely help.
This is why we love, having subject matter experts on our podcast like yourself, Dario, because it's the difference between, you see a lot of the noise on ChatGPT out there and other tools, and everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, if you like. And there's a lot of speculation about what these tools do. And I think some of the stuff you said back at the start of your last response there, where you're talking about the difference in people using this tool and just jumping on it and thinking it's going to do everything for them, and actually training these tools to get the quality of the response and getting the right secure responses. They're trained for that company's messaging, their branding. And as you know, myself and Charlotte have a long background in procurement, and myself with working in SaaS procurement, P2P sales. I still work in consultancy in procurement, working with big data and pricing contracts. And you can see where AI is going to make a huge difference in all of those roles. I mean, 5,500 hours saved is just, that is the sort of thing that makes all companies looking into this kind of technology really sit up and take notice of what potential savings there are to be implementing these tools. But it still comes back to, I think, those really key things that you mention around security of use. So it's having a corporate corporate grade version of this that a company can use, that's already trained for the quality and the messaging and the marketing kind of tone and everything else that particular company needs to use. So how do you see that working in the future? What do you see as the next evolution of this, of perhaps companies implementing these kind of tools but having some form of training or some form of course or something that people have to go through before they're even allowed to use them for a company?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a long way. The point here is with ChatGPT, especially open AI, is the companies first need to understand how it can benefit to their people. Okay, so now I give another example. ChatGPT can give you a lot of information, right? So imagine HR is contacting you as an employee and makes you an offer, right? So an offer where you don't have much information and knowledge about, yeah. So you even don't know who to ask and so on. So now you have actually access to ChatGPT. Yeah, you're asking now ChatGPT, is this offer a valuable? So you can really formulate it like this, yeah. Is this a valuable offer of X amount if I'm getting this from this company for this and this occasion? And then ChatGPT will tell you, yeah, look, the industry average is this and this, and this is that. So you can now determine it for yourself. Yeah, you get the point where I want to go to. So companies actually would, if they would leave it just open as it is, yeah, as now, they would leave a lot of freedom to every employee to gain anything on knowledge. Yeah, they don't have. So, and that's another point. Many companies, they don't want actually that all employees knows everything, right? So, and it is definitely a good tool to learn quicker. Yeah, very, very much quicker. So another example is, I just used it yesterday and tested it a little bit. I wanted to see what it's telling me when I'm asking after a correct sourcing strategy, or how to actually incorporate procurement better into the organization so that the goals of the company are also met. Yeah? So that all are working together. So here it really gave me a detailed listing, yeah, of all the points which were needed. And even I, as an expert of 17 years of procurement, I was a bit astonished about the quality of what it was giving me. Yeah? So because ChatGPT actually helped me on two things. First thing is, it gave me instantaneously the answer, which I probably would have researched in some other areas, yeah? Or I would have taken a book, yeah, and actually go through the pages and to find these. So here already is a time saver. Yeah? It is summarizing, collecting, summarizing, and giving you into a readable format very quick. And the other point is when it comes to the accuracy. Yeah, so again, I'm really astonished about the accuracy of what has been written there. Yeah. So, and here the thing is, ChatGPT gets this information anyway, again from the net. Yeah? And if you had already before a description and explanation of a sourcing strategy 1,000 times in a different format, in different words, but somewhere located, then it's clear it will give you much, more accurate information. Yeah? So now, but on the other hand, if this information you're looking for is very rare, and maybe it's just 1, 2, 3 times somewhere there located in the net, yeah, then you have to question also if this is really accurate enough or not. But here, look, I have also an advice to every user. It doesn't matter privately or corporate user. So, thing is, you have to research for yourself. You shouldn't take everything granted. So even if ChatGPT is giving you a nice solution, you should at least do 1 check or 2 checks for yourself, yeah? To see if this is really 100% accurate or if it can be misleading. Yeah? But I'm seeing the accuracy is already quite high.
Mm-hmm.
The point with AI and corporations, there, and Max, you said it also, savings. Yeah. Here is a crucial point. I had a lot of these discussions in the past 12 months, internally, externally, also with other corporations, but mainly with many employees. And their fear is, as you know it, yeah, AI and chatbots and bots, they will just eliminate our jobs. Okay. So here, this fear I actually can, or concern I actually can, yeah, eliminate, because that's not the case. The case is actually a different one. What you are doing is you're freeing up your people's time so that they can do with this time something more meaningful. And in an example of a scientist then can also follow up then now with his more free time, maybe inventions he had on the table and he could never have followed up because of all the company pressure and corporate pressure and so on and so on. So here actually you're freeing up people's time and let them start to thrive so that they can bring wonders actually you will never hear of. If you let them do all this mundane stuff over and over again, this repetitive things. And therefore, I call bots and AI and all this technology an extended workbench of an employee. And this is what it should be. It should be a tool set. Your extended workbench, which makes your life easier on a day-to-day work life basis. And therefore, this concept of this is eliminating people and so on, this must be sold differently. In order to roll it out more quicker and more widen, it must be sold differently, so that this fear and concern from the people is taken away. But look, I'm not saying that in any kind of near future, I don't know, in a long-term perspective, companies are always trying to reduce their employees, right? But this is just the time of things.
Dario, I think you're absolutely right there. The point that you made earlier, not just on that saving, but on adoption of P2P tools. And you played through a scenario which I'm really used to, of implementation of purchase to pay tools, source to pay, AP automation across large groups of company. It's very hard to drive adoption across the end users. You get varieties of different people, and you mentioned scientists. My experience is actually working with this in universities, and where you have lecturers and teachers who will maybe try to give the purchase to pay tool, give Punch Out a go, and if it doesn't work for them, they'll drop it very quickly. And that means that these tools don't have the adoption sometimes that you really need to make the return on the investment work of putting in such a large investment. So one of the things you mentioned there that I think it'd be great to hear your elaboration on is just how the AI and the speed that it can cover and eliminate some of those manual tasks can actually drive the adoption of these tools and make it easier for those people, the scientists, the teachers, those real specialists in those roles, to just use these tools without having that pain of going through the training of it. Do you think it will help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let me give you another business example. And this is a widely known one by every company, and Charlotte, I'm pretty sure you know this also. Non-PO invoices. So somebody is ordering something in a company without having created the supplier first in the system, having actually created an official purchase order with a pre-approved purchase requisition, etc., etc. So now somebody did something completely off grid or off the line, and now you receive an invoice back which has absolutely no linkage to anybody and anything in a corporation. So there's no PO existing you can link it to, there's no requisition existing, not even a supplier created. Sometimes you just have the name of the employee's person on the invoice. Okay, so now here it starts. This non-PO invoice process, in order to get this invoice paid in the end, and if this happens even many times over a month, so you need to have a streamlined process. Otherwise, it's just creating a lot of manual work, tons of manual work, because so many people are getting involved, have to manual check. Even my team sometimes had to, over weeks, phone up the whole organization to find even a successor of that person. You can have so many examples, like there was a person, he ordered it, but this was 2 weeks ago. Now, 2 weeks after, he was, I don't know, laid off. But not only him, the whole department. Okay, so now you have also the problem, the old cost center is not working anymore. And. Now, how could AI help here? Actually, very good, because you can use AI in order to get an automatic matching of missing MGC, missing cost center, missing names, etc., etc., etc. So, and here, every time the AI is doing it good, and you're just correcting what has not done good, it gets just better, and the accuracy level is just increasing. So now imagine you increase your accuracy up to 99%. This means actually there's just 1% of this complete non-PO stuff you have done before, you in the future have to manually check. 1%. Okay, so and now out of 1,000 per month, that's not much, actually. Okay, and that's just one part. So this is one part, and here I think every corporation can tell you that this is a really tough process, and nobody likes this process. And the same goes on with supplier creations. Supplier creations can be very are very, very complex sometimes, depending on if you do it in Ariba or if you do it in SAP. What type of documentation is needed? How does the documentation have to come? Must it be signed and stamped or just signed? And there are so many different complexities. And even here, a bot, including with AI, can help to coordinate already, because there's so much coordination behind governance and so on, and controls. This is not the next point. In controls, actually, I would just use bots. Recommended, really. Use only bots for controls, because the point here is the bots will just do what you told them to do. Okay, they will just repeat over and over again what they did in the same manner of quality. And there's a big difference now to humans. So even an expert like me, if I'm starting to hack 1 month long any controls into Excel files and so on, I will make mistakes. Everyone is doing mistakes. So what these mistakes are leading then to another repercussions, like your records are not correct, and if you're then also obliged to SOX controls, it's just getting worse. Okay, so here you have then just minor errors, but you have to check them, because the auditors have seen them, they want to have this explanation, and bots are here definitely the future. So there are a lot of things where bots and AI can help in the cooperation, but my personal vision here is, and where really an AI conversational bot, if it is really good trained, well trained, can help every employee in the future, is following situation. And I'm not talking about depression, burnout, and fatigue, and having no friends, having no colleagues at work, being alone. Okay, so being also left alone. So it's not just sometimes that you are alone sitting in the office. Yeah, you're sitting also sometimes with 6 people alone in the office, but you're left alone. Okay, in this group. And now, what could an AI conversational bot do? Yeah, I mean, this bot, well trained, can be a buddy to everybody. So especially to those loners and those people who will easily get depressed because they are, as I said, left alone. So excluded also, and these kind of things. So here the bot can actually be a friend, a buddy, because this AI conversational thing will make the bot more and more human-like, and will come over like, hey, for example, imagine you're switching off your computer in the morning, or let's say you want to switch it off in the afternoon. So before you switch it off, your bot understood from previous actions, from predictions, and so on, and that tries to be human. Asks before you shut off, "Hey Dario, are you okay? How was your day? Anything happened?" So now you actually, as an employee, depending on your, I don't know, state of mind, will either sit down and talk to the bot, or you will just switch off your computer because you don't care. Yes, but I can tell you, there are people who are alone, and they will take and grab this opportunity. Now you tell this bot, "Hey, I had a so-so day." Okay, you just reply like this. Now the bot says, so what happened? Did you had a bad conversation with your boss? Something happened at work with your customers? You see where I want to go? Yeah, so he's leading with you a kind of this conversation to help you to release. Okay, to release, and also to get actually a bit of a help. And the help is here just having an ear. Somebody's listening to you and somebody understands you, even the person is not a human. Okay, so but that's the point. Okay, this has great potential if it is trained well.
Dario, thank you so much for your great insight. Another question, you mentioned it earlier vaguely, but I wanted to go into more detail. What are some of maybe some of the potential ethical concerns that will arise from this technology, in your opinion?
Yes, so I think with ChatGPT, I think there are more concerns, because again, it's public, it's OpenAI, and the point, as I explained in the beginning, the information you feed it with. So depending on how much of your personal information you're also putting in, and also of the corporation or anything what is linked to you, can have maybe some ethical consequences. Yeah. So imagine you're just a person who is more known in the public, right? So, and not just maybe a superstar or so, but maybe a smaller politician and so on. These things can have repercussions. Yeah. And what I've seen with the new versions of ChatGPT. So I don't know if this was number 4 or this even 5, but the next versions, and they are not yet, I think, publicly available, they will not end with the text. They will be also able to show you them pictures. They will create you also pictures. They will also create you videos. They will show you videos. So it will go now into more of these mediums and social media stuff, and this can become very quickly unethical. Yeah? I imagine one thing: if I am able to tell an AI, so this ChatGPT, that he can create an almost realistic picture of myself, but in a different environment with a different costume and maybe something with a different badge and so on, so that it's so realistic that I even could print it out and then make my own passport out of it, for example. Okay, this can have definitely some, yeah. I wouldn't say no unethical. What I would say is it's going to create definitely new laws, restrictions, and kind of things, and checks, and securities especially. So I think we are getting more digital securities in the future, in order that somebody can understand, is this now real or not? When it is
The
checking
Global Business
documents
Insights podcast.
and pictures and these kind of things, and even camera pictures, or camera videos. Who can tell that this is actually a real video out of a CCTV? Yeah, maybe that's just a generated AI video put into the system. Yeah, and this is the thing. So here it becomes, I think, more complicated, and we will definitely hear more of this to come. But now coming back to the corporations. I think as long as they are not including it into their systems, especially into their security systems, they just have to take care of the problem that, the employees are not allowed to use it offline by using company data. And I think here, of course, not everybody will follow the rules, and this will be change management.
Fantastic. Thanks again, Dario. And I think we could carry on this conversation, go really into the detail of this, because I think that this is moving so fast that what you've given everyone there is some real insight into how this is going to work in large corporations, and how larger businesses, particularly in procurement, from your background as well, are really going to have to think about how they use these tools, not just by letting people get on with it, but really think about the implications of how these tools will affect everything. So really interesting stuff. Charlotte, Dario, I don't know if either of you got any more points to add, but
just 2 cents.
Yeah.
2 cents maybe in the end, not
course.
very long. So one thing is, I would just recommend every company, doesn't matter which size, because I've seen some very, very small insurance companies, which are even not, let's say, mid-sized ones, but they have a sophisticated AI conversational chatbot in sales, which is leading the customer from beginning of the conversation until the end of giving a digital signature, which I was totally amazed and astonished. So now linking this to all other companies today who still not started with any kind of AI, bots and so on, I just recommend stop thinking too much about it and evaluating things years over years with your IT department. Just start somewhere, because the investment is relatively very, very low compared to the return on investment you can get out. And I can talk here about 30 and raw of 30 plus. And the other thing is, if you start somewhere, it's not ending there. So it cannot really harm your system. If it's not working out as you wanted, okay, shut it off, nothing happened. So, but if it is working and paying out well, then you have the opportunity to connect and start connecting it to anything else you actually want to automate. And this can be anything. So there are so vast possibilities, and therefore I'm just saying, seeing too many companies thinking too much about it, they just should start somewhere. Otherwise, they will not gain any experience at all.
Dario, thank you so much for these closing words and for your time and for all your thought leadership during the session, and especially to our listeners for joining in once again. Thank you for all your support, and we cannot wait to host you during our next podcast again. Thank you, Dario.
Thanks, Dario. We'd love to have you back on.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Max, for hosting. And it was a great session. Anytime again.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye.
Bye.
The Global Business Insights podcast from PS Learning.